We are live. Welcome to college football's peak around the corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. And do not forget to ring the notification bell. If you want to support this independent national rebel outpost of college football with a donation, help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $sign where you make a comment and I will get to you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Welcome on in, everybody. Live show Friday, August 21st. It is another beautiful day to talk college football. Tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow is Saturday, August 22nd. A week from tomorrow is week 0 of college football. And we here at Peak Around the Corner, we are going to start off the season with a watch party, North Carolina and TCU. And we'll see how far we can go throughout the whole day. At some point, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to try to do that Memphis and UNLV game. We shall see. But I cannot wait. This college football season is going to be dramatic. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be thrilling. And most of all, it's going to be heartbreaking. And I am here to live through it all. And I hope you stay with us at College Football, peek around the corner throughout this season. Tomorrow we are going to be doing a live show, and we're going to go back inside the Holy Smokes Theater. The theater, as last seen on July 24th, some things, well, let's put it this way. There's going to be some changes in the Holy Smokes Theater during a live show tomorrow. So keep your head on a swivel, buckle up, and brace for impact. I'm glad you're here with us tonight. I hope you come back tomorrow night, and I hope you come back all year long, because this is going to be an incredible season on and off the football field. Tonight, it is the Sensational 7. Most of people's predictions when winning the national championship are one of these 7 teams. Going from clockwise, Longhorns, Buckeyes, Hurricanes, Hoosiers, Bulldogs, Ducks, and the Fighting Irish. Not in that order, but those are the Sensational 7. Is there an 8th? Is there another team that should be in the mix? Is there an 8th team lurking that you believe has just as good a chance of winning it all than the Sensational 7? Is there a number 8? Or is there a big divide between the top 7 and the rest of us? Tom DeBay says, I don't think there are 7. Marcus Williams says the 8th is Michigan. Jason Spangler, by the way, Jason, I do owe you. I owe you a DM. I'm gonna get that to you as quick as I possibly can. Jason Spangler, Rock Chalk, is he saying Kansas should be the 8th? D5 Terps. It took me a minute to realize that was not Butler. There is a G under the chin of the Georgia Bulldog. Smile Time says the 8th is Texas Tech. Well, we're okay. Okay, all right. Hold on. Timeout. It's early to call a timeout. I get it. But I got to call a timeout. Small Time says the 8th is Texas Tech. Azon Kid says Tech with Castellanos could be nasty on offense. Let's start the show with Texas Tech. Let's start the show talking about the news that seems to be coming at us full freight. Whoops, that is not it. New on-3 report. The Texas Tech Red Raiders is an early team to watch for former Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos. We are going to talk about that first. Let's do the roll call, because I've got an opinion on all this. I want to hear your opinion. But I got a really strongly held opinion on the possibility of Thomas Castellanos going to the Red Raiders. D5 Terps is in the house. Jeremy Norick is here. Eric Phipps, Charlie Atwood, MGC Sooner, Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. Jose is in the house. It's natty or bust for Texas. The Buckeye, Kayla Ramirez, the Sooner, Harris, Deadeye, Yo Greg, Yo Deadeye. D5 Terps, Anthony Carlson, Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina. We've got Jay Chapman is in the house. Marcus Williams, NE 1877. LSU, with all these damn transfers that might come pending courts back and forth. There might be a little bit of between LSU and the SEC. Or this, LSU versus Greg Sankey. Because Greg Sankey has made it clear once again, the SEC members should follow the SEC rules about not taking a transfer from another SEC team in the spring transfer portal. And this would be, there's only one portal. So there is some brouhaha going on, possible brouhaha going on. Ross Denlinger wrote an article about it last night. I'm not really going to talk about it tonight because everything is so unclear. We got a federal judge saying that these fifth-year players, 2022 class can play. And now there's an overruling on another federal court says no. But the other 5-year players that have gone through state courts that have been ruled in their favor, they're still eligible. So some fifth-year players, high school, class of 2022 are eligible, some are not. It's a complete mess. You've got players putting on an NFL uniform, getting a couple sacks in a preseason game, and now they're eligible. Now they may be in the portal. Maybe now they're going to go play with another team. My beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers just took a kicker, New Mexico Lobos kicker, all Mountain West kicker last year, hit 18 of 19. He goes to the Baltimore Ravens. He did not get drafted, but he went to the Baltimore Ravens. He got cut, and now he went to the portal, and now he's signed with Minnesota. And Minnesota's got their New Mexico special teams coach of last year. His eligibility case went through the state court. So he's still eligible as of right now, but that could all change. Who knows? It is a complete mess. If you want to talk about it in a phone call, have at it. If you want to talk about it in the super chat, have at it. But I'm not quite ready to really talk. I'm exhausted about the whole thing. It changes by the hour. But if you want to talk about it, the floor is yours on a couple of different platforms. So let me know what you're thinking on all that. DCB's in the house. Jason says, Spangler says Isaiah Marshall needs another year. And then Rock Chalk Jayhawk will be ready. Son of Sarek, USC might be the 8th. That is all going to come down to Gary Patterson. And they got a freshman guy. They got some young dudes who looks like they're going to be able to contribute on defense. But it's difficult to contribute on defense in the Big Ten in your first year. It's just the way it is. So, on defense, in the trenches, We shall see. Sensational might be onto something, or he's on something. Helms Light is in the house. Antoine Johnson. Did anyone watch Castellanos and Sorsby last year? They didn't look. I think what Mr. Johnson was going to say, they didn't look good. I've got a very strongly held opinion on Thomas Castellanos, and I'm about to ready to deliver it, and you all let me know how wrong I got it once again. The Almighty's in the house. New Life is here. Bimba 75, 79, Kenneth Maynard, Bob Swanger, Rock and Rant is in the house. Rock and Rant might join the Golden Gophers, be the fourth string field goal holder. We got Edward the Auburn Tiger is in the house. Appreciate you coming on, Edward. Appreciate it. Yogi Buck. Castellanos was good until he got hurt. Okay, let's get to it because I can't hold back on this. Castellanos was good until he got hurt. Fair enough. Fair enough. Again, if you've just arrived, the Texas Tech Red Raiders is an early team to watch for former Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos, as he just got his eligibility. OBD Dunn is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, OBD Dunn. And now here's the windup and the pitch. And I'm going to be blunt. We're almost at the season. Now it's time to be blunt. Thomas Castellanos was the perfect quarterback for the Boston College Eagles. At that time, and even probably today, that's the type of quarterback that the Boston College Eagles, that's what they need. To scramble, to get that first down when an offensive line breaks down. You're not consumed with the fact that the quarterback cannot throw over the middle. That you need the quarterback to take a seven-step drop back just to get over the line of scrimmage. I have never, and I said it on the live show, when Florida State got Thomas Castellanos, I said bad move. It's not that he's a bad quarterback, like a really bad quarterback. He was definitely not what Florida State needed, and I get it. I am Greg the moron, Greg the cold. The re-elected mayor of Louisville City, guest Malzahn, knows more about football in his pinky finger than I got in my whole big fat cranium. I get that. But Thomas Castellanos fit the imprint, fit the boxes, kind of, that guest Malzahn at that time when Florida State, when for whatever reason they couldn't get any other quarterback. But Thomas Castellanos is and this is how I feel about some head coaches. There are some head coaches that are really good, above average, when they are a head coach for an underdog. But when they're a head coach for an overdog, for the favorite, not so much. Thomas Castellanos was a good college quarterback for the underdog. But he wasn't going to be a good college quarterback for the overdog, for a Florida State Seminole team. Okay. Now, I get, and by the way, this is how I feel about Anthony Colandrea of Nebraska. It's like, He's a good quarterback. I mean, really good for UNLV. You know, he got a bunch of, UNLV did not have much of a defense. UNLV really had to score almost every time they touched the ball in G6 play. Anthony Colandrea, when he played for Virginia, but when he went down in class, he was good. And that's why one of the many reasons I think Nebraska, once again, is going to disappoint a bunch of people. And you do have a tendency to get hurt when you have so many design runs for a guy at a, let's just be honest, a smaller stature. You have more of a chance to get injured. It's part of the game. The Red Raiders getting Thomas Castellanos, if they get him. It sounds like they will, but let's pretend for a moment the Red Raiders do get Thomas Castellanos. Let's just pretend. We are pretending here. Seems like they're the one to watch for. I understand the Red Raiders' logic. In fact, I have said here many times before, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. He came from Tulsa. I watched the tape. The backup quarterback for the Red Raiders, the transfer from Tulsa, that ain't going to work. So, I completely understand the Red Raiders getting an insurance policy in going after Thomas Castellanos. I'm not going to sit here and rip on the Red Raiders for getting Thomas Castellanos, like I did Florida State getting Thomas Castellanos for the QB1. So in that part, I completely understand it. The next part, though, man, that insurance policy is going to come with a cost, in my strongly held opinion. Because I don't think Mr. Castellanos is going anywhere to sit on the bench. I don't think he's going to go in the portal and go anywhere just because he's promised some red zone packages for the Red Raiders. He's going to go in there, and the Red Raiders have already gone through this in the locker room, cultural, kind of this back and forth. Brendan Sorsby, but now now they settled on Will Hammond. He's trying to recover from injury. It looks like he's going to be ready for week 1. But this insurance policy, it's going to make me even more nervous about the Red Raiders. Even though I don't think their backup quarterback can compete in Big 12 football. And Thomas Castellanos, at some point, he can. But if that insurance policy has to become QB1 in Lubbock, man, I tell you, I am starting to question Greg DeGold's final prediction to have the Red Raiders number 1. I got a feeling that I might be kicking myself in the head by not taking BYU. Or not having a BYU Oklahoma State Big 12 final. I got the Red Raiders winning 20-17. I feel a little bit uneasy tonight, even though it's not official. And even though logically, of course, your backup quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, it's logical. You should do it. But it reminds me of it. It's a little bit unsettling. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the chat. Give me a call later on the program. It is one that has hit me. I get why the Red Raiders are going this way. But it's starting to make me question. I don't think Thomas Castellanos can take the Red Raiders to a Big 12 championship over Utah, over BYU, over Houston, over Connie Wegman, over Devin Dampier, over Superman Bear Bachmeier. So Will Hammond, just like before, you got to be able to stay healthy. You got to be able to stay in the game. Anyways, that is my take on it. I dated an Italian Castellanos, but I was drunk, so she could have told me she was German, and I would have believed her. Castellano is Italian. Castellanos is Spanish. Kenneth Maynard. Vincent Paterno, thanks for coming on in. The S makes all the difference. It is far more common in Spanish surnames than Italian ones. Very interesting. Very interesting. Adam Vulture, the Raiders have 3 running backs that could easily run for 1,000 yards, and I agree he wants to start. And that is the problem that I have. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem on any of that. In fact, my Big 12 storylines, I'm looking at the Red Raiders. If you look at number 3, Texas Tech, 2 1,000-yard rushes this year. So I agree. I absolutely agree. The Red Raiders' backfield is filthy good. They're going to run for 1,000,000 yards. It's that other part. And I agree he wants to start. Man. See, I'm not blaming anybody here. I'm not blaming the Red Raiders for looking in that direction. At this time, I'm not blaming, this is one of those things that there is no criminal in this. It's just, even though there is no victim, I'm not blaming the Red Raiders, and I'm not blaming Thomas Castellanos. I just don't think it's going to work. That's the problem. I agree. I think he wants to start. I don't think, or at least I don't think he wants to just come in and do a wildcat on a 3rd and 1, red zone package, split out wide as a wide receiver, do an end run, jet sweep. And if he does start, I don't think he's going to elevate the Red Raiders to a Big 12 championship. Let me know if I'm being too hard. Christopher Hooter, thank you for starting us off. $2 holla. Greg, latest on NFL cut rookies returning to college football. Um, oh, well, I know the LSU Tigers are being really aggressive in these rookies that are coming back from NFL football. And Mr. Hooter, you might be ticking off Greg Sankey, the commissioner. This could set up to be a major test if the SEC can go silo at all. Because Greg Sankey has said it over and over again. He has put out a memo to the Southeastern Conference schools. You are going to abide by the rules of our eligibility, of our transfer policy. Sankey doesn't want the LSU Tigers going to the portal and taking off the shelf a transfer from Ole Miss, for one example. Not in this portal. So, again, you can give us a call later on, or you can give us a more. Because this thing is so changing by the minute, I'm kind of hesitant to talk about the whole story. I know other people are doing it, but it's changing. It seems to be changing by the hour. As of right now, if you were deemed to have if you were a class of 2022 and you were deemed to have your eligibility by a federal court, that seems to have been taken away. The NCAA did win a case, an injunction. Now you are not eligible at this very moment. If you were deemed eligible through a state court, it does seem that you are still eligible. Now that is the simple way of me saying it, and it might be inaccurate. I don't think it is, but it could be. So some class of 2022 players who have played 4 years, who are looking for a fifth year, some of them are eligible. Some of them are not, depending on how they took it in the federal or the state court. Is that absolutely ridiculous? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But going back quickly to the SEC silo, if LSU doesn't follow the SEC rules, if other Southeastern Conference schools will not follow the rules because they're afraid of their neighbor is not following the rules, if the SEC won't follow their own rules before they even go into it, I mean, it really makes it clear how difficult going into a silo, if that would even work. Would the schools follow the rules going in a conference-owned silo? And LSU seems like they're about to test Greg Sankey. Let me know if I'm being unfair about that. Hold on here. I got a message. Hold on. Yeah. I can talk about that later. Thank you for the $2 holler. Nope, Greg, you are correct. I wish I knew what I was correct about, Bulls fan, but thank you for letting me know. 100% no. BYU football might be saying I'm not correct. That also could be true. And now we are getting this before we get to the Sensational 7, over the last 3 years, or at least over the last 2 years, everybody's been having this debate in college football. what conference is the best football conference in the country, because over the last 20 years, it was SEC, 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 every single year, and it wasn't even close. There was no debate. Usually the debate was, is there a second best conference? What is the third best football conference? Now for the last couple of years, now the Big Ten has won it 3 straight years, but I would argue it's been like the last couple of years where the Big Ten, the fans, those Ruly fans and the media and the coaches, Brett Bielema and Kirk Signetti and all these Big Ten, the evil empire, has been pushing against the idea that the SEC is still the best football conference in the country. I finally had to walk across that bridge at the end of the national championship game last year. At the very end of the game, I threw up my hands and I said, all right, I'm walking across the bridge. Big Ten is now the best football conference of the country. Now, I have said during the offseason, I think the SEC can and will get off the mat. I do think the Buckeyes are winning it all this year, but I think the SEC is going to really do good, have a team in the national championship, and at the end of the season, that debate is going to be broiling once again. However, there is a certain coach in another conference that believes their conference is as every bit as good as the SEC. And that is Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes head coach. Nick Saban reveals how often Mario Cristobal attempts to convince him ACC is better than the SEC. Holy smokes. Mario Cristobal. Does he have a point? Daniel Hager on 3. During Friday's episode of the Pat McAfee Show, legendary head coach Nick Saban revealed that Miami head coach Mario Cristobal repeatedly bugs him about one thing. That one thing, you might ask? Cristobal believes that the ACC is a better conference than the SEC. And he's trying to drill it into the mind of the 7-time national championship winning coach. He's always trying to convince me that the ACC is better than the SEC, Saban told McAfee. The SEC has 9 teams in the preseason top 25. That's all I know. It's a deep conference. I know it is. So Nick Saban is leaning on the top 25 and how many teams are in the preseason poll. I know that the Big Ten is a really good conference and getting better when it comes to depth. It's really great at the top with the Buckeyes and the Ducks. But anyways, it is what it is. He's never gonna convince me. He's never gonna convince me that the ACC is better than the SEC. As Saban touched on, 9 SEC teams are present in the preseason AP top 25 poll. Georgia, Texas, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri. And just 3 ACC teams, Miami, SMU, and Louisville, are in the top 25. Ultimately, these preseason rankings don't mean much. other than the fact that these voters believe the SEC will be vastly superior to the ACC in 2026. If you look at last season, 5 SEC teams were present in the 12-team college football playoffs. The lone ACC representative, however, was Miami. The ACC champion Duke Blue Devils were passed over for another Chiefs 6 representative, James Madison. Although the conference was outnumbered in a big way, Miami advanced further than any SEC team did in the playoff. In fact, the Hurricanes ended the seasons of 2 of the 5 SEC teams in the playoff, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Miami played in the national championship game where it fell to Indiana in an all-time classic. This gave the Big Ten its 3rd different national champion in 3 seasons. Luckily for the fans, they won't have to wait long this season to see a clash between the ACC-SEC opponents. Number 9 Ole Miss opened the season against Louisville in the Music City kickoff on September 6th. Last year, the SEC went 6-8 in games against ACC opponents. So, now it's the head coach of the best team in the conference, the head coach of the 7th-rated Miami Hurricanes, the head coach of a football program that seems to be fully aligned in the administration, the university president, whoever their new athletic director is going to be, and Mario Cristobal. A football program, Miami Hurricanes, going toe-to-toe with Indiana in the national championship game last year. Their head coach, Mario Cristobal, is now starting to throw the elbows at the SEC. Is that argument going anywhere? Do you believe that argument is going to have any traction? I don't think so. But again, I got to be consistent. Nothing remains the same. We do not live in a static world. That includes college football. But no, I don't think the ACC is as good as the SEC. I don't think it's particularly close. But again, Ole Miss, Louisville. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Isaac Brown. Look, there's a lot of good players going to be playing in that game. So I'm excited. I am excited. Stormy Cyclone, Miami's trying to put a damper on the SEC pep rally. BYU football, to be honest, if the ACC would quit tripping on their own feet and act like a conference, they could be better or equal to the Big Ten and the SEC. That's why we've got the Power 2 trying to strip. That is true. You know, you got to wonder, BYU football, if the ACC would have not have signed a 20-year Tier 1 media contract with ESPN from 2016 to 2036. If they would have done what the Big Ten did, 4, 5, 6-year contracts, media contracts, where would the ACC be standing now? If they could renegotiate their Tier 1 contract in 2028, 29 to 2030, would they be under this much threat? I happen to think they still would be. Why do I say that? Because if ESPN was completely and totally committed to the ACC being in line, or as close as it possibly could, to be in line with the SEC and the Big Ten, ESPN could say, let's do a look-in. Let's renegotiate the contract. Now, again, it's very difficult for them to do that. They're publicly traded. I mean, they have such a great deal with the ACC because they don't pay the schools, the conference, that much for the Tier 1 content. And the ACC network is going really good for the schools and the network. But yeah, I agree with you, BYU football. The ACC would be looked at a different light if they would not have made those big mistakes earlier in this century. Thank you, BYU football. Appreciate you coming on in. The Big Lubbock, we just talked about the Red Raiders. Texas Tech is better than the SEC. What do you think, Big Lubbock? What do you think about Thomas Castellanos? Do you want him on your team? Do you want him on your team? Mama Duck says he is wrong. Mario Cristobal is wrong with Florida State and Clemson laying eggs. I'm still wondering about Tate Reynolds. It's almost to the point where I would be shocked if he did not get a package of plays against LSU. What do you think, Mama Duck? I would be shocked if Mr. Reynolds does not get a package of plays against LSU Tigers. Tough way to start out your college football career. Playing on the road in Death Valley. Really, 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 really difficult. Big Ten is the best conference. SEC is the best culture. Marcus Williams. The architect is in the house. OPD Dunn is saying nope. No. Ace, no. That don't work. That doesn't work. The ACC is not the better conference. Mama Duck says, I agree, Greg. Tate Reynolds, I think he's going to play a little bit. I think he's going to get his feet wet. Minnie is going to blow Sippy's doors off. Yes. That's going to happen. I had a gentleman, PATC family member, who sent me a DM about the Mississippi State-Minnesota game, and he says, Greg, and I've said this before on my live show, but he said, Greg, nothing good can come out of this game for Minnesota. If you lose to Mississippi State at home, all of your Golden Gopher propaganda, gone. All your the Big Ten teams, the Big Ten fan bases are going to be just slamming the Gophers for losing at home against Mississippi State. Mississippi State, a team that's predicted to come in 16th, 15th, 14th place in the SEC. You are in a no-win situation, Greg. Because if the Golden Gophers win, they're not going to get any credit. And if they lose, they're going to get absolutely slapped around. I agree, and I don't care. Bring on the smoke. Bring on Hell State. Bring on those cowbells. Bring them all on. And then when we whoop up on Hell State, and then Mississippi State goes and upsets the South Carolina Gamecocks and Lenore Sellers and Nick Harbor and Dylan Stewart, then people are going to be going, ooh. Not only is the middle of the Big Ten so much better than the bottom of the SEC, and the middle of the Big Ten is probably better than the middle of the SEC, y'all are going to be saying, those Golden Gophers, who are they again? Who are they again? And I'm going to be here to remind you. We've got David Hall, 5 Holler. We're going to get to the sensational 7 here in a moment. Has the Big Ten ever considered Rice as an expansion candidate? Fantastic AAU school, wealthy alumni base, huge Houston market, only viable Texas option, in my humble opinion. The Big Ten, and I reported on this, oh boy, 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. The Big Ten did consider baseball affiliation with Rice. They just considered it. I don't know if it got anything past consideration. I reported that. Can't remember who else discussed that, but there was some consideration about Rice baseball affiliation. And if I remember correctly, I don't think it got anywhere because I don't think Rice had any interest. And I'm not sure how much the Big Ten was going to have, but it was under consideration. Other than that, no. And I don't think Rice is Texans' only option for the Big Ten. In the years ahead, there is no Texas option for the Big Ten in this next wave of realignment. But in the years ahead, I think there could be an option emerge. And I don't think it's going to be Rice. Rice is an incredible university, very rich alumni base, but their athletic department and their fan base is so small, and it's always going to be so small. And their brand, I don't know. I don't see it happening. But there could be. I don't think they're the only viable Texas option in the future. David Hall, thank you for the $5 holler. Appreciate it. I don't think they are a viable option. That athletic department and that fan base and the brand is just too small. Just too small. All right. Thank you for the $5 holler, David. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you so much for supporting our program, helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Thank you very much. Buckeye Greg says Rice is not an option for the Big Ten. Kenneth Maynor, SMU as well over Rice. Christopher Hooter, Rice is a great school, but I'm not sure the mission is big-time sports. TCU would be chosen over Rice. I agree. You know, it's interesting. We talk about how nothing remains the same. SMU is a great example. You know, they had a pretty good football brand back in the day. And I'm talking even before the 1980s. I mean, they had always a smaller fan base. But, you know, they had their moments. And, of course, with Eric Dickerson and the other running back, I can't remember. And then they got the death penalty. Then they came back after the death penalty. And now look where they are. Everybody considers them a top 4 ACC football team this year. They got money coming out of everywhere. And I think it would be foolish for myself or anybody else to put borders up around SMU and say, you cannot be anything else than what you are right now 20 years from now. I'm not going to say that. I don't know what's going to happen with SMU. Don't know what's going to happen with SMU. If there is if and when the Big Ten expands, if and when the SEC expands, and then there's a third power conference, like a third conference, best of the rest, that eventually gets, because of the economics of consolidation, SMU is going to be in that. They're going to make sure they're in that. So, now there's always going to be structural challenges for SMU. Their mission may not quite line up with the SEC, doesn't line up with the Big Ten, always going to be a smaller private university, not going to have the big alumni bases. But that money, that money, I think the best evidence of the rise of SMU, like the most clear evidence, like you can easily point to it, is not the wins and losses, which is great. Not that SMU already went to the ACC championship game, which is great. Not that the SMU already went to the college football playoffs, which is great. I think the clearest evidence of the rise of SMU as an athletic department, a football program, and the value of the school is Rhett Lashlee. Because there's already been attempts on getting Rhett Lashlee out of SMU and into an SEC program. And there may have been an attempt to get Rhett Lashlee into a Big Ten program. And Rhett Lashlee said no. A couple of times, at least. And why is that? Because Rhett Lashlee likes what they have at SMU. He likes to be able to go in the portal and compete and win a lot of those portal battles versus some Big 12 schools in that region, some ACC schools, and maybe some Big 10 schools. Instead of going up against the SEC teams and the portal, high school rankings, it's like the SMU's got their own, they might be building their own little kingdom right there. So I'm not going to put any, just myself, I'm not going to say any outlandish things about SMU tonight, but I'm also not going to put any high fencing around SMU. And if I did, they might jump over it anyways. But yeah, very interesting. All right. Thank you, Christopher Hooter and David Hall. I appreciate your generosity. We are going to now talk about the Sensational 7. Yeah, we're talking college football. Tomorrow we are going to go into the Holy Smokes Theater. First of all, we do have this to tell you. Chris Hummer, 5 minutes ago, a SEC spokesman on Friday declined to comment on if the league's intra-conference transfer rule would apply to those in the portal due to a recent TRO in Louisiana. At least one SEC school, per sources, believes the league's ban on SEC to SEC transfers would not hold up in court. Now, the question is, it would not even hold up in court if the SEC completely went in their silo and said, this is our rule. And if a student athlete doesn't like our rule, they can join the Big Ten, they can join the ACC. They don't have to come in the SEC. Are they saying that, is this SEC school believe that it would not hold up in the court if the SEC were in their silo? And number two is, again, is a silo even going to work? Are the 16 SEC schools even going to follow the rules anyways? Even if it was SEC only? That's one of the problems with the SEC silo. Would it even work? Would the SEC schools listen to Greg Sankey? The way things are, schools just don't want to follow rules. It's terrible. It is the bad underbelly of the sport that we love. But that's the truth. Nobody wants to follow any rules, because you are afraid that your neighbor is not going to follow the rules. It's like you can't water your lawns on odd days. You can't water your lawn in your neighborhood on odd days. But you know what you do? You go out and water your lawn on an odd day because you think the neighbor, you can hear the water sprinkling beyond that fence that you can't look through. You think your neighbor's watering the lawn, so you're going to water the lawn. That's what's happening here, constantly. We are going to talk a lot about silos here going into the winter months, going into early next year. But this is the first big test of the SEC silo, even before they even go into it, if they even go into it. And yet they're not. There seems to be a case made that they're not going to listen to Sankey. Wow. Okay. Always something going on. Christopher Hooter, $2 holla. Greg, nothing sensational about that 7? Thank you for the $2 holla, Christopher Hooter, but I would have to disagree with you. I do believe this is the 7. It is most likely that the next national champion is coming out of these 7. The Longhorns, the Buckeyes, the Hurricanes, the Hoosiers, the Bulldogs, the Ducks, and the Fighting Irish. The question is, if the national champion does not come out of these 7, where do you see it happening? Where do you see it happening? Now again, I got the Buckeyes beating the Longhorns to the national championship game. I've got Miami, Notre Dame in the semifinals. I've got Indiana beating Georgia in a fantastic first round game. This is and we've showed you this before, the PATC preseason top 25. Clemson at 23, Penn State at 22, the Hokies at 25, Fighting Illini at 24, the Hawkeyes at 21. We got Utah 16. Alabama, I don't think that they're the 8. I don't think that they're that 8th team that can win it all. Washington, no, I don't think so. Louisville, nope. I don't think Houston can do it. SMU, I don't think so. Michigan, I don't think so. I don't think Bryce Underwood can engineer a Michigan Wolverine playoff run to win it all. Texas A&M, no. USC, possibility. LSU, possibility. BYU, can BYU be the 8th possible team to win the national championship? Can I put them in that ring of honor? They got Superman. No, I can't do it. The Red Raiders? No, I can't do it. Ole Miss? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And then the rest of them are part of the Sensational 7. So for me, if I had to pick an 8, the 8th team that could win it all, besides the Sensational 7, it would be Ole Miss, LSU, or USC. And of course, I have those 3 teams in the college football playoffs. I think Trinidad Chambliss can make a big run. Big run. USC, that dynamic offensive line, Maeva, the running game, and then LSU. If Sam Leavitt can get back to where he was playing football against the Longhorns in that playoff game, and remember, Arizona State did not have the best wide receiver in that football game playing. They did not have Tyson. He was injured. Sam Leavitt came this close from beating the Longhorns in a playoff game without their best weapon. If Sam Leavitt goes in the playoffs with LSU and everything is rolling and he's healthy and they've got Harlan Berry and Caden Durr and they've got Chase Brown and they got everything rolling and that defense is rolling, LSU can make that run. So I think, yes, the Sensational 7, is there an 8th school? Between USC, Ole Miss, and LSU, I would have to first eliminate USC. I made a guarantee that they were going to make the playoffs in early spring, and I see a lot of people are coming around to my position, but I don't think they can make a run. I think not this Lincoln in the next couple of years, yes, with the new quarterback, but with a whole new, with that fantastic high school recruiting classes coming on in, and a rebirth of USC Fight on Trojans, yes, but not this year. So the 8th team that could win it all for me is between Ole Miss and LSU. And I cannot split that up. So I'm going to have an 8-1, 8B and 8A and 8B. Ole Miss and LSU is my 8th school that I think could win it all if everything goes right. Let me know if there is a team out there that I have completely missed, do you think that can win it all? I'm going to open up the phone lines. Again, you know how it works. Phone call, the floor is entirely yours. Super chat, the floor is entirely yours. And then the other comments I will pick and choose depending on how relative it is to what we're talking about. Christopher Hooter, Indiana is running on 2025 fumes. Repeat, no chance. Christopher Hooter is saying no chance to Kirk Cignetti. He's saying no chance to Marsh, the great wide receiver that they got in the portal. That running back that the Indiana Hoosiers are all excited about. Josh Hoover. The defense. We shall see. All right. We are going to go and open up the phone lines. Hoosier Dave, and here we go with the Paul Finebaum talking points. Thank you, Christopher Hooter. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. All right. Phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. We're chopping it up. We're talking college football tomorrow. We are going to be opening up the Holy Smokes Theater in a major August update. We have not had an update in the month of August, and it is most definitely an update from from the people that we've talked to and the chatter behind the curtain, BTM, an associate director that we've been talking to, and everybody in between. Major update for tomorrow's show, and we're going to be going live sometime in early afternoon. So keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. But make sure you subscribe to our channel and get yourself notified. Major show tomorrow night. And this is a big show. We're talking college football. All right. Phone lines are open, and then I'm going to see if there is any
from
Rock and Rant.
Rock and Rant. The floor is yours. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Greg. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm so excited for this season. We're only 8 days away, so it is. We're coming on in, sir.
I'm right there with you, man. I've already done week 0 picks in week 1 because I just want to talk about football and not sports anymore.
Yeah. Well, we will be doing our week 0 picks like Monday or Tuesday next week because I'm not going to be able to wait. I've been looking at these games. I've got them all down here. I mean, I'm all ready to do it right now, to be honest with you. But I don't want the PATC Einsteins to complain that I took advantage over them, that I did not give them enough opportunities to take a look at the games. I don't want any excuses from the Einsteins. So, but I got it all ready to go.
That makes sense. On the flip side, you've had games like Auburn and Baylor that I think were like at 7, and now we're at 4.5.
Yes.
So depending upon what side of the bet you're there, but of course that moves all the time. That's a pretty big move for a couple weeks ahead.
Why do you
And
think that is?
I have no idea, honestly. Um, it's a neutral site game, which is which it's in Mercedes Benz instead of being the return game to Auburn, which would have been much more fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. Do they believe in DJ Lagway and Dave Aranda? I'm not really sure what the reason why that line's moving. I'm not aware of injury though.
We did a show. I don't know if anybody can help me in the chat. We did a show last week or this week, where we talked about the some quarterbacks and how the NFL scouts are viewing them, the potential, and like they were brutally negative on Julian Sand, but they were incredibly positive on DJ Lagway, and it blew their minds. Like he's been looking sensational in camp, and I'm wondering if that is having an effect on the line.
Hey, maybe they all were the same guys who thought that Anthony Richards was going to be a great pro despite doing nothing in college.
Yeah. Like, I will say this. If DJ Lagway plays really good football this year, then I'm going to come to the conclusion that he was truly always hurt. Like, not hurt, but injured when he was playing all those games. Because to me, he looked absolutely brutal.
Wouldn't it be ironic if he looks great and somehow Billy Napier is able to take over Chesney, leaving James Madison, and they look great, then everyone's going to sit there and wonder, was it just, the 2 years of DJ not being healthy? Either way, it's definitely interesting. And week 0 is better. On one hand, it's pretty much a missed opportunity for football. But it's better. It's sneaky better than you think because there's a really big group of 6 matchup with Memphis and UNLV that could basically a play out game for the college football playoff in some way. And you've got a conference game, that messed up game for Virginia and NC State, who both could wind up being in a good position after that game got moved from Brazil. Plus whatever the Drama Bowl, the Jordan Bowl in Ireland. We'll find out whether or not Bill has done anything better or if TCU is just going to roll them. So it's more interesting than I think people think when it's all said and done.
Can I throw another game in there?
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Is like, of course, it's the North Dakota State Jacksonville State. That's a historical game for North Dakota State.
Yep.
So, but the game that the rematch of Hawaii and Stanford. I watched that game last year. Did you watch that game last year?
I did. I'm very big on Hawaii this year.
Okay, so I'm watching that game last year, and I now this was Greg the Cooler, right? This was Greg the Cooler, which is not Greg the Gold this year. It was Greg the Cooler. I had Stanford covering, and I said that they were gonna cover pretty big, even though I did not think they were gonna be a very good team, which was obvious. I thought they would cover that game. So I'm watching that game, and anybody who watched that game was falling in love with Mika Aliado, right? The quarterback.
Right.
And I didn't know who he was, but I'm watching him and I'm falling in love with him. But Stanford was still winning that game. And I can't remember the score. Stanford was up by 3 points, and they were driving the ball. And their quarterback, I can't, not a good quarterback, but I can't remember his name last year. Not a good quarterback. He came from Oregon State, if anybody can remember the name. He rolls out, and no pressure on him, and he throws it right in the hands of the Hawaii linebacker, defensive end that was going to try to kind of rush him, but we're not going to be able to get to him. Like, it was one of the worst throws you could ever make. Like, the guy didn't even barely jump, and he caught. And so Hawaii guy runs, and they catch him. Hawaii kicks a field goal. They tie it up, and then they kick I can't remember. I think they might have kicked a field goal before it went into overtime, I think.
Yeah,
But
they did. It
anyways,
was
Hawaii won that game.
I don't think it was overtime. I think it was a game-winning field goal right at the like a buzzer beater, I believe.
Yeah, it was not overtime, right?
Yeah, it was as the time expired.
Yeah. Okay. And then anyways, so like Hawaii, so I'm we're keeping an eye on Hawaii, and I think they played a really bad game the next week. But now this year it's like some people got Hawaii, they believe they got a better roster this year. And they could be a G6 threat to get to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think so. I have them in the Mountain West championship game personally.
Okay.
'Cause, Micah Elahado is the Mountain West preseason offensive player of the year in the media poll.
And they did make it to the Mountain West Conference Championship game last year, I think. And didn't they get beat pretty bad? Or did they lose? Did they lose a week before?
I'm looking it up because I don't remember.
Okay. But anyways, now
it was UNL. No, that was UNLV in Boise State.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Now you got Davis Warren, right?
Right, coming in from Michigan.
Yeah, and now so now Stanford's, and that guy has a long history of like, he's supposed to be pretty good out of high school, but he had a lot of health issues. He overcame, and now this is like his opportunity. So there's a big story about him, Michael Alia. So again, that game I think is really interesting. But go ahead. I'm sorry to occupy your phone call. Go ahead.
No, it's good. Like football, it's coming, right? That's what we spend. It's the weirdest sport. It's you got 12 to 16 days of your team playing in a given year of 365, and we talk about it. The other 353 to 349, right? All the time. It's a crazy world. And it's crazier right now with whatever may or may not happen with these guys and their 5-year for eligibility. Again, Pox on the NCAA and everyone. You guys knew this was going to happen. You could have solved it with the plan in December. Instead, you didn't. Don't really want to care about hearing about the boohoo stories about it. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they could have solved it and not have this problem, and we would be in a much better space. And some players would have already never gone to the pros or a tryout. So whatever happens in the next 14 days, why do we care about chaos being an issue now? It's been chaos like incessantly for years at this point.
Is there anything that is there any player that Miami has beaten the bushes on? Are they?
Not that I know of. I guess it ultimately depends. There might be 5 more state cases thrown out there in the next 15 days.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anybody necessarily who was on Miami last year that they're definitely bringing back who didn't get a taste, right? Because right now a lot of those guys would have been held under the Colorado case that has the stay, and they didn't have any ability to go somewhere back other than to their school. It's really more about those other state cases where they're getting a 7-day portal window and they're getting ignore the roster limits and ignore revenue share things, the freedom to do like what LSU essentially just picked up from the Notre Dame player, let alone whatever happens with the Daquan Wright coming from Cleveland Browns to wherever he may or may not go. But nothing would surprise me. On the one hand, I think that there's a culture thing for these teams at this point. But on the flip side, if you think you have a strong culture and you can make your team better, and if you lost a player to injury or drama, Miami's had a couple of drama moments. I can't say that I think that they definitely wouldn't do it. But along on those points, I don't know what people expect Mario Cristobal to say to Nick Saban. But you're not going to sit there and say, hey, I'm in this conference and I might get judged by strength of record and strength of schedule. And I rolled through the SEC last year. I got beat by ACC teams. You guys should count them more. What would you expect them to do? And if you're Florida State or Clemson and you're sitting there going, well, I hate my conference. Well, if you think you might have a good season, if you're Clemson and you're basically 26th in the poll, and if you're Florida State and you're not just hoping to get Norvell fired, but you maybe actually want to enjoy football in November, well, if you think you've got a chance, then you want all of those coaches telling everyone that the ACC is good and starting the BS war that the SEC already started at the media days, right? So that's what I would expect. And he's always going to torture Saban, but there is sort of this window. and I don't think it's wrong. And I posted about it, but I didn't get a chance to talk to you because I know you've had some tight windows. It's entirely possible in my mind that by the morning of September 20th, the ACC might only have one team ranked. Because just follow me for a second. And I'm not even talking about SMU getting stuck
Go ahead. Yeah.
with Florida State, right? Miami's at 7. They don't really have, I don't think they're going to upset by Stanford or anything like that. But, anything's possible. But still, you'd have like 18 spots to fall. SMU, they play Florida State. Well, they certainly, if they get upset, it's only a 1.5 game against Florida State on Labor Day. They're only ranked 19th.
Yes.
They would fall. But let's just assume that and Florida State has 0 votes, so they have X amount of teams ahead of them who all might win.
Sure.
But that's not even the game I'm thinking about. Clemson is number 26, right? And then there's a gap between like 112 votes and 51 votes for Florida. Clemson plays LSU. So they're not ranked, but if they lose to LSU, they're going to fall, right?
And Louisville plays Ole Miss.
And then Louisville plays Ole Miss. Louisville's 24. Ole Miss is number 9. So if Louisville loses at the next, at 24, they will fall a lot because there'll still be a lot of people and others receiving votes who may have not lost or what have you. Then on September 19th, SMU goes to Louisville. So 2 weeks later, in what could be a playoff game for the ACC, SMU goes to Louisville. So imagine a world. Louisville loses, whether close or big, to Ole Miss. And I don't know that they will, but let's just say they do that. If Clemson loses to LSU, both of those games would be chalk on the odds. And if SMU loses chalk to Louisville on the road, the next team in the ACC is Pitt, has 7 votes. There's like 15 teams ahead of them and the others receiving votes. And there's a lot of ifs there, but those are 3 chalk games.
Yes.
That could put the ACC in this weird place. Now, I don't think that means that the ACC would not have teams ranked or that those teams wouldn't bounce back. I actually see a world where Clemson goes 2-3 and winds up 9-3 because they might lose to Cal on the road.
Oh my God!
I could see them running the table. But there is a scenario, and I don't think it's completely implausible, that the ACC has a terrible optics moment the morning of September 20th.
But there is also this scenario.
The flip side, too.
Yeah. Louisville defeats Ole Miss.
Uh-huh.
Right? Louisville defeats SMU. Then where do you have Louisville in the top 25?
And Clemson beats LSU. Then all
And
of a sudden,
Clemson
Mario
beats
Cristobal looks
LSU.
really smart.
Yes. So now suddenly you got the SEC on the back of their heels. So
absolutely. So there's definitely some interesting. I mean, there's some crazy great out of conference games, and the fact that Ole Miss and LSU play in September 19th or the 26th is bonkers. So if you're getting frustrated about all the NCAA crap and 5 for 5 and lawyers and state courses, you only got 8 more days before we can watch UNC and TCU and maybe put realignment on the side, though, as you will say, I know it never sleeps.
No, it never sleeps. Now, you know about the Gophers kicker thing going on?
I caught you saying something earlier in the show. Do you guys have kickers issues?
Well, we never have kicker. I mean, we've lost, our first of all, our special.
I remember the UNC game. I remember that one.
It's not just that one. It's Northwestern from last year. I mean, we missed 2 short. Our field goal kicker, between the 40 and 49 yards, or we're at 25% or something. Our field goal kicking has been brutal. Absolutely brutal. So last year we had 3 kickers. 2 of them were not, they just not good. Okay, so we went with this one kicker, and he had a terrible season. But he was done. He had 4 years, he played 4 years, right? He's done. So now we got these 2, and the other kicker left. So we had 1 kicker left. So we brought in this Sutherland from Michigan. And so the Sutherland's got a big leg, but he's not accurate. So he's competing against this other guy who was with us last year who did not play because he just doesn't seem like a Big Ten kicker. So now those two guys are going through camp. And the Gophers, the beat writers, everybody is having a panic attack because these guys they're not performing, right? It's not good. So the guy that we had last year as a kicker, he got his eligibility back, okay? Now, he wasn't good last year, but because the two guys we have in camp are not, let's just be kind, not taking advantage of the opportunity given to them, they bring this guy back, right? Are you still there, Rockin' Rat? Hello? Okay. Well, I lost him. So then, the third guy, so now you got 3 kickers in camp, but now the New Mexico Lobo kicker, who doesn't have any eligibility left, he gets his eligibility back through the Louisiana State Court. And the guy that we brought back a few days ago who got his eligibility back from the federal court, he loses his eligibility today. Another an injunction, and an NCAA won a case. But the guy who won the state court case in the state of Louisiana, who was New Mexico's kicker, who was 18 for 19, who was the Mountain West Kicker of the Year, who went to the Baltimore Ravens camp that just got cut. Now he just signed for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So the Gophers are playing this like they're trying to find a kicker. And they're trying to find a kicker that can keep their eligibility. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. We got a $2 holler. Christopher Hooter, thank you so much, Christopher Hooter. When is the drop dead rest in peace date for PCSA? That's a great question. I still wish I had Rockin' Rant on the line, because I think he's probably following this a lot closer than I am. He's also a lot more intelligent. He can understand the ins and outs of these cases. And the PCSA. I did hear a date, and it might be completely wrong, but I did hear September 14th is a possible date of the vote. But I'm guessing there's a lot of possible dates of the vote in September. I just heard that date. I don't know what the rest in peace date is for PCSA, because if it passes the Senate, how motivated will the House be in doing a reconciliation with the Senate? How aggressive will House members be in trying to... What are the chances of it passing the House? I don't think there's a good chance at all, because politically... it's the Senate. You can find a way to compromise a little bit more in the Senate. The House is so gerrymandered to where you've got a lot of extremists in both parties sitting in the House. I don't think, just my opinion, I didn't mean to offend anybody. I don't know what that date is. I really don't. I don't know when the last date is that it could pass the Senate, go in the House, and then the House says, we can't do this. We can't do this. Now, in the Senate, remember, they had those amendments, and they're going to have to vote on those amendments. And those amendments have to have enough votes to get it, to get inserted into the bill. And some of that is having to do with the 5-year probationary period and things of that nature. So, but I don't know what the rest in peace date is. I'm not sure if anybody can come up with that date. I don't know what the last date is to say this is the last date that legislation can get to the president's desk for him to sign. But thank you for the $2 holler. I very much appreciate it, Christopher Hooter. MM 101 2MD is acting under the assumption that the PCSA is dead. So he has given up hope. Let me see if I can. Okay, I'm going to check something here. Phone lines are open. Rutgers and Purdue are goners if the 19 cap stays. Big Ten, the only way, nobody's getting kicked out of the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten might fracture. There might be schools leaving the Big Ten. Not anytime soon. But for the Big Ten to kick schools out, that ain't going to happen. How are you going to get the votes? How are you going to get the votes to kick them out?
Call from
Replica. The floor is yours, Mr. Longhorn. Are you getting ready for the season?
Greg, this is the last weekend without football until Valentine's Day. I just wanted to put that out there. We are 1 week away from football in Dublin, Ireland. And
Yes,
it
sir.
feels good because this sport is an absolute mess right now. we need real football to come back. But didn't want to keep you long. Just wanted to go over a couple things.
Yes, sir.
As far as the Longhorns are concerned, we have just found out that Ty Anthony Smith has parted ways with the program. He was a guy who was...
I just saw that. Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. They're saying this is a personal matter. We'll come to find out if that's a cover-up or if he really has something going on. But we are now razor thin at linebacker.
Yeah.
We got Rasheem Biles.
Yes.
Another guy, and then basically all freshmen. Tyler Atkinson's the guy we spent a lot of NIL on coming out of high school. He needs to be ready to play right away.
Is he ready to play right away? Have you heard that he's ready to go?
I've heard good things, but
Yeah.
it's not. We'll know for sure when it's live bullets, and considering our schedule, we do not have a lot of margin of error.
Yes.
At that position, and it really makes me come into the question of the decision to let Leona LaFau walk. He, along with several other players who left the program this offseason, were painted as money hungry by Coach Sark. And now that the Boosters have ponied up and spent all this money, he rearranged the narrative, said he needed to create cap space to bring in all these players. So I expect results this year. You know, I'm a big Sark guy, but he has no excuses.
Yeah. Rasheem Biles probably cost a lot of money, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put that out there. It's as excited I am about the season, there's a very real possibility we could be ended up like Penn State last year if things go south.
Oh, jeez. Don't say that. Please don't say that.
We have to consider all possibilities. I've seen it all.
I know, but I'm trying to block out reality as long as I possibly can. I got the Longhorns winning the SEC. I got the Longhorns going to the national championship. You've got Hollywood Smothers. You got Raleek Brown. You got Cam Coleman. You got Arch Manning. You got Rasheem Biles. You got Colin Simmons. You've got the safety. I love that safety you got. Taft.
No, he's left. Michael Taft.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, I thought he was still with the team. Well, then that means I'm going to have to change up. No, I'm not. The team is loaded.
Yeah, and Stark is going to have to earn his paycheck with all these new toys he's purchased on offense. I believe we can win with our offense, but
yeah,
we gotta see better results than what we saw a year ago. I wanted to briefly talk about that. And then you brought up something interesting regarding the SEC and the ability to govern itself.
Yeah.
You are very correct. That's going to be put to the test because this injunction that came out of Louisiana granted a lot of ex-Lane Kiffin players a fifth year.
Yes.
And just going off of past history, those guys are going to stay in the SEC.
Yes.
Now, if a Big Ten school, ACC, Big 12, whatever, they come with the right offer, I'm sure they would entertain it. But those guys are going to want to stay in the SEC. And I've heard LSU have had some injuries in recent days. So
yes, I've heard that too.
Look for those players to sue the SEC if Greg Sankey insists on this interconference transfer rule. And then we'll really find out if they can govern themselves.
Oh, I mean,
it all sounds good until you don't get your way.
Yeah, exactly. No school, like nobody wants to say, "Oh, that's okay. I can't do that. Okay, I won't do that." Like nobody wants to follow any rules.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's afraid that your neighbor's not following the rules. So.
Yeah, and then I was reading on some articles from Pete Nakos and others. There are multiple SEC schools who are against this rule of not being allowed to transfer to another SEC school. So
yeah, I can understand that because you're kind of handcuffing yourself, right? The Big Ten don't have that rule, so why should you have that rule? I think they should get rid of the rule, actually.
Well, we'll just file that away.
Yeah. Plus,
away for football.
And here's the other thing, Replica. There's not a whole lot of room to take these players in, right? You got a roster of 105. There's some rosters out there that are 105. They don't have any wiggle room. So you got these players who can help. They can help right away. If you got somebody taking a cup of coffee in the NFL and they have the ability to come back and be on your roster, they are going to be better than most of the players you have on your roster. They're going to be a grown man. They're going to know what it takes. They're going to have enough credits. They're going to be able to contribute to you. They're going to be able to give you instant depth, almost instant depth. I mean, they're going to have to learn your defense or offensive plays, but so there's going to be pressure to want to get them in. And LSU is one of the teams that are like, man, we got a shot here. We got some injuries, so we're going to bring these guys in. It's crazy out there, man.
I mean, it goes even beyond CFP contenders. I've seen Vanderbilt, Rutgers, Baylor. Basically, if you have players who can help you win, you're going to evaluate that, even the ones who didn't sign an NFL contract. And you made a good point about the roster limits. It seemed like some schools had contingencies, like Indiana. That okay, we're hearing about this 5-for-5. We may leave some spots open, but what's going to happen when we get to a point where players are getting cut at the end of fall camp to make room for other players?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're one of the coaches who won't make that decision, just know there are other coaches around you who are willing. So
Yeah.
that's what I'll leave you with, and keep up the great work.
All right, man. I appreciate a replica. Going to be one great season. All right, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Beautiful. Legendary caller, PATC, the Longhorn replica. Yeah, I love it when replica gives us a call. Toxic, again, look. The Texas Longhorns, the PATC Einsteins, not one time have you guys voted for the Longhorns to beat the spread in any of their games. Now, eventually, here in the second week, the Longhorns are going to be playing the Buckeyes. Are you guys going to take the Buckeyes to cover the spread? Or are you, for the first time, going to take the Longhorns? I'm taking the Longhorns. Because the Longhorns are going to win that game. The Longhorns are going to beat the Buckeyes. I don't know if you guys are smart enough to figure that out. I'm trying to help the PATC Einsteins. Greg the Gold is trying to help the PATC Einsteins take the Longhorns against the Buckeyes. There it is. Christopher Hooter's correct. Follow Christopher Hooter's lead. Great call as usual. Rock and rant. Absolutely. Replica. Beautiful job. All right. Phone lines are still open. 763-260-1333. Not a whole lot of comments in the section in the comment section about the Sensational 7.
Call from
Opie.
Opie is on the line. He's back. LSU. The floor is yours, sir. Thank you for calling. I very much appreciate it, sir.
No problem. We'll sue anybody, it seems like. LSU. So all we like is football. So it's like, okay, everything else is out the window.
Yeah, yes.
Before I get started, just hope everything's okay with the little general's family down in across the border.
Why? Is there something new going on? Is that war going on between the...
No, just I have a son down there, so he was saying that things were picking up a little bit. So
yes,
hopefully everything's all right.
Yeah, as far as I know, they are. My mother-in-law, unfortunately, lives in an area in which that area can be affected quite easily by a war going on in there. So we're keeping an eye on it. Yep.
All right, that's good. Well, Lord willing, everything will be good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And second thing, I guess we're going to have to talk to your mom about being a Bama fan because, we don't like them too much.
That's that conversation's going nowhere, Opie. I mean, in fact, I don't even think I spent time with her yesterday. That's why we did an earlier show yesterday. So I went over there and I did some caretaking when my sisters took some time off. And I had a conversation about her about the college football season. And I said, "You getting ready?" And she said, yes. She didn't know what day it was, but I said, "It's August. We're getting ready for the season." And she asked who Alabama was playing. And I said, Florida State, their first real game. And and she said that Alabama will win. And I reminded her that Alabama lost to Florida State last year. And she says, well, they'll win this year. So, yeah, she's a Gopher fan, but she's an Alabama fan. And that's just not going to change because she is a very stubborn old woman. And hopefully my sister has her watching this live show right now. My mother is a stubborn old Irish woman. So there you have it, Opie.
How true. I got a little sister that likes Bama, and we've been trying to change her for 60 years.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
That ain't working.
Now, how did she become a Bama?
Well, it's funny. She said their backsides were better looking.
Oh, well,
that's how it started.
I think that's my mother. She's always talking about the cuteness of the coach or the cuteness of the quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's how I think it was deeper. I think my mother had a deeper. She loved Alabama back in the 70s. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's just how it happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is all right.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wanting to say some things about Sankey. I mean, I think I know a lot of people are on the outs with him, and this is going to be something that probably is going to set up to see if they can, the SEC can police itself because he's very smart and calculated on a lot of the stuff he does. I mean, when he was trying to get the 9 games in way back in 2018, it was going to be on the agenda for 2019 in the March meetings. But, COVID happened, and then that just messed it up for years. So
yes,
it takes a little while to get the things that you want through
on
how you're working. And, I think he's never met a microphone he didn't like as well. So.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And the reporters love that. The reporters love that. Yeah. That's why they heap praise on him because he gives them such great access.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I want the Big and the SEC to play each other, I think that'd be a whole lot of fun. But seems like they're, the Big is wanting to get a little more of the 24 team playoff, before anything else. So
yeah, I think so. I think they want to get that in there before they agree upon that scheduling arrangement. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sure seems that way.
Well, you might see a Golden Gopher in Baton Rouge here in the next couple of years. So buckle up, Opie.
I would hope so because I know they like to play everywhere, but for some reason, LSU on their stuff when they like to do for the recruiting, they like to play in the outskirts, not necessarily a home and home, but they like to play somewhere where there's a lot of recruits that can come to the game. I mean, I know they can't invite them, but they always seem to find their way there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'd like for them to play the Gophers. It's one of the few teams in the Big I like. I mean, I kind of like the 4 I actually do like, which is probably pretty bad, is Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why am I liking them? But I always like somebody from another conference.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yep. I mean, you're all evil. Don't get me wrong. You're all evil. But yes, some are less evil.
We just put icing on those so that way we look sweet.
Yeah. So what are you hearing here in camp? Is there some injuries happening at LSU? Are bodies hitting the floor?
Well, there's some small things going on, but the biggest thing was is that Levitt is getting better and better. But as far as like camp stuff, the only thing I'm ever worried about is the fundamentals and how the timing is between the receivers. Everything else is kind of second nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some nicks and crannies. That's why I don't like playing the. I mean, I'm playing like I'm doing it, but I don't like to have our team playing the littler teams, because it always seems like you have a major injury to a line of scrimmage guy. So if that's going to happen, I'd rather it be on the big boys. But you only do what they put in front of you. And
Yeah.
I know the old AD, he likes to get some good ones, but yeah, we do have some soft ones. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of like Texas, I mean, their first 2 years in the SEC, they had a pretty good, easy schedule as compared to Oklahoma. I mean, what they did, I thought was pretty impressive to, win with all they did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's going to be interesting though. I'm waiting for 1 or 2 more practices to see what I can find out, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we'll all know a little bit more.
Look, here's the thing. Whatever happens with the LSU Tigers, with the purple and gold this year, OP, whatever happens, it's going to be dramatic, right? It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's going to be dramatic. You're going to be at the edge of your chair. The Ole Miss game, the Clemson game, everything that Lane Kiffin does in year one, it's going to be dramatic. It's going to be a lot of fun from an outside, perspective.
Yeah.
Not having the pressure that OPD Dunn is going to have under him. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Lane Kiffin is he's something else. He only knows how to get attention drawn on him and wherever he's at.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that I wanted, if things weren't working out with the political front, I wanted Summerall, because I mean, he's just hard nosed and everything else. But Kiffin, one thing I found out is that it seems like he gets really good coordinators. So that's a talent within its own. So
Yes. Yeah.
if you can't get that, then it's just like Ed Orgeron when all those people left. It's like, what I got left except a big party.
Yeah. When he lost his key guys, he didn't have much. Yeah, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it himself. So yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Last thing, whenever we were going, whenever I wasn't around for a while, and then I had to binge watch everything.
Yes, sir.
How y'all were talking, how you were and Prue was talking about the Big Ten on the middle teams. Who is it that you considered as the middle teams?
In the Big Ten?
Yeah, in the Big Ten.
When it comes to football or overall evaluate, when it comes to football ability?
Okay. The football. Like say the last 2 years, because I'm not counting the first year of the, 23, whenever Michigan won. Yeah. I don't count that year. So I count 24 and 25 as the 2 years with the NIL.
Upper middle is Washington, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, someday hopefully Michigan State and Nebraska again. Wisconsin's not quite at the middle anymore.
Yeah.
UCLA's not at the middle. Now they might be this year. So I would put Michigan and Penn State are not the middle. They're the top 6, right? Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, USC, Michigan, and Penn State. And then the middle is Washington, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois. Yeah, something like that.
All right.
Penn State.
That's pretty cool then.
Yeah, Iowa, Washington are at the top of the middle, and then Minnesota, then Illinois.
Yeah, Iowa seems to be Mr. Consistency in the
Yeah.
in the Big Ten. So
That Iowa Vanderbilt game, I watched that whole bowl game. That was fascinating because Diego Pavia was making plays, but Vanderbilt could not hold up to that Iowa in the trenches. They could not.
no, but
Yeah. I think Iowa was at the end of the season last year, Iowa was a damn good football team. They were the best 8-4 team probably in the country.
oh, I agree. I agree for sure. I mean, things are changing whenever you can sit up there and see what Indiana's done the last 3 years, and Vanderbilt, they're 9-7 in the conference the last 2 years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you a lot. And they said they're going to spend more money, so it's like, holy cow, that little university is pretty well off. So
Yeah. Now, they're
you
going to have
see
a
it.
tough. They're going to have a tough year this year, though, right, Opie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely, because they're pretty damn young. So
Yeah. They're going to.
and you having that freshman quarterback, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think they got to be hoping that their freshman quarterback Jared Curtis can play all the games, not get injured, get that experience, and get ready, and hopefully have a good enough season to where he can recruit the next high school class, and more importantly, the portal for Vanderbilt going into next year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
Yeah, my main question on LSU this year, Opie.
Do we serve beer at the games? Yes.
Huh?
I said, do we serve beer at the games? Yes.
No, that would be one of my top 5. Is the running game? Like, I was really disappointed 2 years ago in LSU's running game.
Everybody is down here.
Yeah, so Harlan Berry, right?
Yep.
Caden Durham, right?
Yep.
You got incredible tight end. You got Jace Brown. You got some other dudes. You've got Sam Levitt who can keep the ball. You got to I spy him as long as he's healthy.
Yep.
I don't know how the running game.
Well, he's they said that he's doing really well and everything is 100% and throws that he's doing. But like I said though, I don't take too much solace, I guess is the right word, in that because of they have to really start playing the game so you can hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they'll be okay, but I'm really interested to see what Trey Green's going to do.
Yeah.
Within the red zone, because I mean, man, he is like
Monster.
He's lit up. He's always talking really good about this offense is made for him and this, that, and the other.
Yes.
He didn't say much of nothing last year.
Yes. See, when I watched Ole Miss last year, Kewan Lacey had the room and the space to get it done because you had Trinidad Chambliss. They had to keep an eye on him. He's rolling out. He's throwing those quick passes that Lane Kiffin likes to do. And that offense, you could see that Lacey had enough. There was enough guessing going on from defense. They could not load up, and Kewan Lacey had a fantastic year. I don't think you're going to be able to load up on LSU. So I think their running game is going to be better than it has been the last few years. But that's like
they got a quarterback that can run. So, that's the good thing. I mean, but that is one thing that Kiffin is good at, and also the OC. Why am I forgetting his dadburn name? But he's always had a great running game everywhere he's gone, from either FIU to Alabama, LSU now. So I'm interested to see what the running game's going to be with LSU. So that'd be cool.
Yes.
But on whenever I was listening to all the stuff on the your ESPN radio podcast webinar that you did. I decided to do a breakdown on it on the Big Ten's schedule, like what they did inside the conference and who they beat,
Yeah.
what SEC teams they beat, what their record was. Of course, I've messed up on Illinois. They're 11-7 over the last 2 years as opposed to 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could look at that and then tell me what you think, after
you
the
sent this to
show.
me?
So, huh?
You sent something to me?
No, I put it on the podcast. For some reason, I can't send stuff to you, so I don't know what's up with that.
Okay.
But, if you look down there, you'll also see something on Florida State. So I'll probably we'll tick off the Florida State fans on there. But I got the breakdown of what they've done against every team in the SEC.
Okay. All right.
But outside of that, you have a good day. And as always, thanks for taking our calls and letting us call in and voice our concerns, so to speak.
Yeah. And then later this season, it's going to be voice our disappointment, voice our depression, or voice our celebration. But I appreciate it all.
Yeah. There's only one jubilant fan base at the end of the year, so that's the problem.
It's never a Gopher. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay. Bye.
I mean, the last time a Gopher celebrated, the last time the Golden Gophers could celebrate a national championship was 1960. And just a couple of weeks ago, the Senate took that away from us. So nothing goes right for the Gopher. 5 gifted memberships: D5 Terps, Rich Austin, Deepwater, Christopher Mercado, and Nittany 89. You all been gifted a membership. Holy smokes.
Call from
Tristan Fives.
Tristan 5, can you hold on for a moment, please?
Yes.
PATC gifts a membership to Nittany 89, Christopher Mercado, Deepwater, Rich Austin, and D5 Terps. All of you are knighted officially college football cloak and dagger. Tristan 5, the floor is yours. Let her rip, sir. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. Listen, I wanted to talk about the SEC and their potential self-governance issues. Back when Commissioner Slive started filling that role for the SEC, one of the things that he did was he would arbitrate between the various universities. If there was, we all know, Greg, that the recruiting irregularities, so to speak, within the SEC and players getting paid and so forth, that was obviously quite a common thing. And they used to go to the NCAA and turn each other in, and then that resulted in a lot of schools being on probation, and it was hurting the conference. And so Slive came up with a new arrangement, and that new arrangement was, you bring it to me, I'll deal with the school that's violating the rule, and if they don't straighten that situation out, then I'll take it to the NCAA and they'll get put on probation. And so that became an effective way for dealing with these issues, within the conference. And at the time, if you remember, Greg, for the longest time, the NCAA could enforce rules and they had teeth, and for whatever reason, schools went along with it. I guess they felt like they didn't have a choice. But that they've been defanged. The NCAA doesn't have any authority anymore. And the problem in all of this, Greg, is that no entity has any authority unless and until Congress comes up with some kind of comprehensive rules that governs over the affairs of universities dealing with these athletes. And in the absence of that, there's not going to be a mechanism for the SEC to enforce its own rules. There's nothing they can do. It continues to be a race to the bottom. Schools continue to behave in a manner, contrary to the rules when it's in their benefit, and it's just not going to work. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. And so I'm telling you, and I think this is like a generally accepted view by just almost everyone, that has no chance of succeeding in terms of enforcing the rules that they want to enforce. There's no chance that they're going to be able to make it work.
Well, this is a big test. This could all go pear-shaped real quick for the SEC, and then you know, you got big voices in the SEC talking about how the conference should go into an extreme silo, like the University of Georgia president, and then to have this happen where no one's listening to Greg Sankey and schools are violating the transfer rule. That's gonna blow. That's gonna make it to where they're not gonna even be able to attempt it, right? So,
Yeah, that's a real possibility.
yeah,
The only recourse that they're going to have ultimately, which I don't think they would have the guts to enforce or to bring about, would be booting someone out of the conference. And I can't see them doing that.
yeah,
And that's their only recourse in the absence of any real, enforcement body with the authority to do what needs to be done. And Greg, the thing that's, you have to understand, the thing that's encouraging them to do this is the ratings that they've had over the last couple of years, right? They feel like with the ratings they've had, there may be a bit of a drop off, but generally speaking, they'll be able to continue to get really good ratings. And if they can hold on to those ratings and the revenue continues to flow, they might get lucky and get to renegotiate with ESPN. They feel like they can weather the storm, but it's going to get ugly. And it may not work, exactly what you're saying. Like, a lot of things can go wrong. There's a lot of unintended consequences to something like this, right? Because there's so many moving parts and no one knows the future. So I just think that it's precarious. It's a precarious move. And they may choose to make it. I don't know that they're going to chicken out or anything. But there's not going to be any successful enforcement. There's just no way it's going to happen. And it's going to continue to be a race to the bottom, and there's going to be schools breaking the rules all over the place.
yeah.
So we'll see how they deal with it. But I'm wondering if Greg, we had previously said, and I think you had said, that if the SEC does it, the Big Ten would likely follow. But I kind of feel like they may not. I think what they probably would do is wait a year and see how it goes for the SEC. And then based on the apparent results after a year, they might say, okay, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Now, if they take that approach, Greg, if the SEC goes in a silo and the Big Ten just takes a year to look at it and see how it turns out, they might be scared off. They might be scared straight, so to speak,
Yeah.
by seeing all the craziness that comes from this. So, like I said, I don't want them to go in a silo. I think it's bad for college athletics if they do. Now that bill has died, or seemingly has died, I don't know if it's really dead or not, but for the time being, it doesn't look like anything's happening. Now I've switched back to saying I don't want them to go in a silo.
Yeah.
Right. So as long as there's no crazy bill out there that's going to limit the freedom of the conferences, I don't want them to go in a silo. I want to keep it the way it is. So it's a really weird story.
Yes, it is.
And I just
And
wanted
it's
to.
going on. It's going to continue. That's the thing.
Yeah, it might even get worse in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, because everyone now knows, like without the NCAA, everyone knows that the NCAA has been defanged. The Supreme Court has just ruined their ability to enforce any rules at all, which is, I don't have a problem with it, right? But so the NCAA is like a general without an army. They can issue orders, but they have no one to enforce them. And so, that's why there's a power vacuum right now. There's a void in college athletics. There's no enforcement body. And that's why, Congress needs to step up and do something, but that's obviously not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. So we're in for more turmoil for the next couple of years, probably.
Yes, we are. And here at College Football Peek Around the Corner, we're going to be following it all, every bit of it. So buckle up.
Yeah. Hey, let me give you one last thought about Georgia.
Yes.
Okay, so Kirby beat Saban one time, and then Kirby beat the current coach, DeBoer, one time. Okay, that was last year. And Greg, do you know what those two games had in common? Other than Georgia winning, of course. Do you know what those two games had in common where Kirby won?
Big turnover advantage.
No. Each time when Kirby won, it was the second game that season against Alabama.
Oh, okay.
He seems to need a second shot at him before he can beat him. And on that basis, I'm predicting that Alabama will beat Georgia when they play each other early this season in Alabama.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, he needs a year. I don't know, like he needs a second chance to beat them.
Got it.
Yeah. So anyway, listen, you're doing great. Keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Tristan 5. Great call. Absolutely
Thanks, Greg.
Beautiful call.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Beautiful. We got to get membership from the one and only Coy 34. Coy 34 gifted a membership to Lawrence, Kansas Football Rules. Lawrence, Kansas Football Rules. When you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Coy 34 in the chat. Thank you for your generosity, Coy 34. Both of you are knighted. College football, cloak and dagger. You can go to our episodes, our library of episodes, watch all the episodes, including members only early P Cloak and Dagger. Thank you, Coy 34. Very much appreciate your generosity. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on and growing the channel. I'm hearing some noise here. Oh, there we go. All right. So we've been on the air for 2 hours and 16 minutes. I think I'm going to lock it up. I do want to thank Coy 34, Christopher Hooter, and David Hall for your generosity. Coy 34, Christopher Hooter, and David Hall for your generosity, helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Thank you so very much. Thank you for everybody for joining us. The great comments. Tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon, early afternoon, we are going to be doing the Holy Smokes Theater update for the month of August. There's going to be some changes based on information. It's going to be a big show, so keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you subscribe, get yourself notified, and get ready for tomorrow. And tomorrow is Saturday, August 22nd. 1 week away from college football beginning. What a beautiful time of year. Thank you for joining us here at College Football Peek Around the Corner. Thank you for becoming part of our family as we enjoy the sport that we love, the great college football, the pageantry, the passion, the history, the competition, the joy, and the crushing defeats, and everything in between. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family.